Has launched an unsolicited $38.6 billion bid for Canada's Potash Corp, the world's largest fertiliser maker. The offer has been promptly rejected by the board of Potash Corp as grossly inadequate, and now the market is pricing in a higher offer. The bid reflects the Anglo-Australian mining giant's desire to capitalise on the recovery in the fertiliser sector. Here in Russia, consolidation is also taking place. Uralkali is widely expected to make a bid for Sylvinit. This would create a new national champion and the world's second biggest producer of potash. Grain from Russia's national reserves will not be used for export. At the beginning of this week, the government imposed a blanket ban on producers selling grain abroad in response to the severe drought. There had been speculation on the commodities markets. The government would use its own reserves to fulfil some foreign contracts. But speaking exclusively to RT, the head of the joint grain company, Sergei Levin, says this will not be possible.
At this point, the intervention stock has 9,940,000 tons of grain. The intervention stock could be used differently depending on the situation. Last year and in the beginning of this year, the country had excessive amounts of grain. The intervention stock put pressure on the internal market. That's why it was necessary to export this grain.
But the situation has changed drastically. We cannot talk about excessive amounts of grain on the internal market.
Now we are saying that we have a necessary safety net. So we are not talking about exporting the intervention stock anymore. What we are talking about is the need to decide which of the internal consumers it should best be given to. In other words, to which of the affected regions it should go in the first place, and in what scope. This decision must be made by the government. I think it will happen, as Mr. Zubkov said, within the next 2 weeks.
What is Russia's current storage capacity?
If we look at the statistics, the Federal Service of State Statistics reports that we have a total storage capacity of about 118 million tons, but that includes all types of grain storages, both the modern ones equipped with climate control systems and the old granaries and barns dating back to pre-war times. Honestly, I think that only about 1/3 of the storages are up to modern requirements.
How has the drought this summer affected your strategy until 2015?
The strategy of the United Grain Company includes large-scale investments into the grain market infrastructure, construction of new storages and transshipment elevators, as well as an upgrade of the existing facilities going forward to 2015.
There will be significant changes in the grain distribution patterns inside the country, because over the last few years there was quite a distinct distribution.
The southern region produced grain for export, while the central region and Siberia produced grain for internal consumption. This is going to change now, and the grain from the south is going to be consumed internally as well. And we'll certainly have to rethink our strategy.
And finally, Luke Oil is considering an unlikely proposal to diversify its business. The oil giant has been offered the opportunity to try his hand at chicken farming. Belarus wants the company to invest in the construction of poultry plants, which it hopes will produce 100,000 tons of meat a year. That's roughly 40